Hello everybody, my name is LanceBeryl and welcome back to a sort of follow-up episode of my Let's Play of The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. It's been a while since I last did a video, or at least last recorded a video. I've been uploading the videos over the course of the past few months to my Let's Play channel, but I haven't done any recording of me playing the game since those initial few hours. Since then, I've nearly completed 70% of the game by this point, at least in terms of the main stuff. I did the three main quests, been kind of exploring around, trying new things, building new things, and I decided to do just sort of an update video, talk about my thoughts on the game so far, showcase a few of the fun things I found or built, and maybe go do a couple quests I thought would be fun to go do on camera. I actually made a list of the stuff I want to do on my phone. See, so first I want to kind of recount my general experience thoughts so far in the game. Overall, I love this game. I will say I don't think it quite hit as hard as Breath of the Wild. I still haven't yet to finish the game, so you know, who knows, maybe the story will really carry it like the extra mile for me. So far though I've really enjoyed the story, there's been some problems here and there in terms of the timeline. It just seems, I thought this game was going to be sort of I don't know if addendum is the right word, but sort of amend some questions about the previous game and establish sort of a more concrete timeline in terms of where the games, this game and the last one take place relative to the other games. There was a lot of lore the game seemed to be setting up, and I was really happy with it. I still really enjoy the story of this game so far, how it's delivered, how all the cutscenes are super cool. But the one problem is this game cannot be canon. There is no foreseeable way any of this makes sense in terms of what's been established in the previous games. Even the simple stuff, like in Skyward Sword with the goddess Hylia kind of reincarnating as a human, or quote-unquote Hylian, demise cursing the world, the timeline of all that, the timeline of whatever the heck is happening with the Zonai here, the sages in Ocarina of Time. Everything at first seemed like it was gonna, like, those questions were going to be answered. The connections between everything was going to be answered in this game. No. There is no way this game makes sense unless there is now a fourth timeline where the events of the previous games happen to happen without Ganondorf's involvement, or some funky time stuff. I don't know how else to explain it. So the last appearance of Ganondorf prior to Breath of the Wild, timeline wise, was Twilight Princess. That was like his latest appearance in the game. He, not sure if he's like dies for real, but he, you know, they quote unquote kill him at the end of the game. And then Breath of the Wild seems to imply that sometime between Twilight Princess and Breath of the Wild, Ganon gave up his mortal form to assume this sort of smog hog pig-like creature. And in this game, we see like Ganondorf's been kind of held in place underground, and we're like, what's going on here? Clearly something happened between this game and the last game, and it has to have been late in the timeline, because it's been what, 10,000 years since the last Calamity Ganon attack. Prior to Breath of the Wild, it was established that there was an attack by Calamity Ganon 10,000 years ago. He was sealed away for 10,000 years until 100 years before Breath of the Wild, and then he got loosed. And then all the events 100 years prior to Breath of the Wild happened. Now in this game, we find Ganon corpse underground. Okay. And we find out that the Zonai like locked him down there for a very long time, and it's like, okay, that makes sense. Turns out the quote-unquote first king of Hyrule was the one to do that. Okay, that's kind of getting iffy. And then it turns out the Zonai, the dude who sealed Ganon away, is the one who founded the Kingdom of Hyrule, the first king, and he sealed Ganon away, presumably for I don't know how long, until he became a small cog 10,000 years prior to Breath of the Wild. And Breath of the Wild mentions a bunch of events or things from previous games, like the era of Twilight. We see the ruins of Lon Lon Ranch. We see a lot of things. So, if Ganon was locked away for 10,000 years, and Zonai Man was the first king of Hyrule, when do all the other games take place? When? There's no way for those games to take place. Do you know why? Because Ganon, despite the fact that Ganon appears in those games, per the timeline in this game, he shouldn't be in those games because he was sealed away underground for 10,000 years. What's the deal? It's completely broken. Either this game takes place late in the timeline and they're just wrong about Zonai Man being the first king of Hyrule, or he was, and those other games are retconned somehow, but they're still represented in this game in like the costumes, and it's scuffed. It's broken. It's some people just say get over it. I am trying to get over the fact that the timeline makes objectively, in the most objective sense, it cannot work. It cannot work, and I'm trying to get over it, because aside from that one thing, this game is amazing and I love it. It's honestly one of my favorite games of all time, I think, so far. Does it surpass Breath of the Wild? It fixes a lot of issues I had with Breath of the Wild, with the story, in terms of, the story being interesting. Various mechanics, bits of the world that I thought could have been fleshed out a lot more are really fleshed out in this game. Cutscenes, amazing cutscenes. Oh good, it's the Blood Moon. The Blood Moon's out. What else? The dungeons, new dungeons are back. Should I just be walking around doing stuff? I don't know. But I love the new dungeons in this game. Should I do spoil? I don't know. I guess I'll just say spoilers. I haven't beat the game, but I've, played like a good 3/4 of the game. So, if you're not like super far into the game, maybe don't watch this video, but I really love the game overall in isolation. Forgetting all the timeline stuff, taking it as its own experience. This is probably one of the greatest games of all time to ever be made. I'm not sure though if I love it more than Breath of the Wild. I think Breath of the Wild, in terms of a leap, mechanically, thematically, like from a philosophical perspective, it was just such a huge grand leap from like the more linear Zeldas to something truly open, like old school Zelda NES, even like Link to the Past, just stuff. It was a game unlike any other that I've ever experienced before. I played, some of Skyrim. I've played some other open world games. Nothing really compared to my time with Breath of the Wild. You're ruining this moment, Ganondorf. I'm trying to have this sort of introspective commentary. Yeah, the dog's just chasing his tail. As this doom moon is slowly approaching, about to subsume the world with darkness. Okay. I'm just gonna wait for this so I can continue my thoughts. I will say something. Okay, I will say this. Why are the blood moons so frequent in this game? I feel like every other day is a blood moon. And it doesn't, like, I will barely kill any enemies and it's like, oh, another blood moon's happening. Why? Anyway. Yeah, I just love everything. Like, the NPCs feel so, they were fleshed out, a bit in the last game. Not Skyrim levels of depth in terms of tasks and quests, but certainly it's a world that certainly feels populated by people with ambition and like independence. You see them like get up in the morning and go to sleep. There's a shooting star. Yeah, so I don't know if any game will truly surpass Breath of the Wild in terms of like being that special game for me. If anything, I know people were comparing this game to, quote, DLC. That feels very short-sighted to brush it off as being simply that, but it does feel like that in some sense. It's the same world, greatly changed, but still the same world, the same characters, and it's fascinating to see all these people. I don't know how many years it's been, 4 years, 5 years since the last game. It's not really clear because we see like people get married and have children between this game and the last game. There's a lot of new people from like different parts of the world, apparently, like the Zora princess that showed up and got with Sidon. Should I go get that? It's just sitting over there. How far is that away? Nah, it's not worth it. Like, and just like Breath of the Wild, it feels like there's so much. I could explore this game for the rest of my life if I wanted to. Like, there's just so many secrets. Oh. Hello. Hello. Hey, look, we're twins. Ugh. You want this? No? Okay. Yeah, so what are the thoughts really about the, I love it so far. I will say there have been parts where I've been having a bit of a hard time enjoying the game. I don't know if it's the fault of the game necessarily. I still haven't gotten that one. Wow. Not necessarily the fault of the game. I've just been going through like a lot of life stuff, a lot of introspection, and I don't know, it's been kind of inhibiting my ability to really just relax and enjoy things. And you know, intrusive thoughts and OCD as well just makes enjoying some things a lot harder. So I feel like my enjoyment with the game hasn't been as special as it was with Breath of the Wild. Because it was just, I was younger and still dealing with stuff, but you know, just kind of how it is. But even in spite of that, I've really enjoyed the game, and it truly is special. There's a lot of standout moments, specifically sort of debuting myself as a VTuber wannabe. Just kind of playing with the game in a very casual format. It's something I didn't know I would enjoy as much as I did. It does come with its own stresses. Not something, at least right now, I can do sustainably by any means. Just something to do on the side, and it's fun to have fun with it. Have I been here before? I'm just looking around right now as I talk. I'm gonna do some more substantial stuff today. Okay, is there nothing down here? I guess I've been down here before. Okay, so what else? Is there anything else I want to just get out about the game? No, I mean story. I haven't really beaten the game, so I'm not really sure on some elements of the story. I've got like a good picture, I feel, having done the 3 main dungeons. Oh yeah, I was right on a few things. How about that? My predictions. The sages were indeed a thing. Does not make sense in terms of the timeline, as I said, but you know, the sages. This seems like it was sort of establishing the sages and how they kind of came to be. There's, you know, some lore on the Zonai. There's yeah, Zelda did go back in time. Should I this is a big spoiler So if you haven't played the game, like, don't get mad at me when I spoil this. Okay, I'm gonna talk about it. Okay, you have your this is your chance to leave. This is a big spoiler about what happened to Zelda. Okay, I'm gonna give you this opportunity to leave right now. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Penguins. Okay, turns out Zelda's big dragon. That was a really cool I will say, I did kind of get spoiled, and that in itself is an interesting topic. I actually managed to get spoiled for quite a lot of things. Not because I was actively seeking it out, but just because a bunch of idiots on YouTube put big, fat, spoilery thumbnails about like so many things from the game. Like I was like about to do a thing and discovered for myself, and then I'm just browsing YouTube and it's like, here's a big spoilery thumbnail. That was really disappointing, really frustrating whenever that happened. And every time it happened, I had right click the little 3 buttons you see next to their video and just be like, don't recommend channel. Never again. That to me, like, I've completely lost interest in whatever content you're making if you're going around ruining stuff like that for people. Like, I understand why people do it. It's easy views. I respect people that have the integrity not to spoil junk through the thumbnails. It's not a problem just with Zelda. It's a problem with basically any game, any movie. I wish there was an option in YouTube to just disable spoilers, like mark this game as a spoiler, but you can't. And it's frustrating. But yeah, so Zelda's a dragon. And the reason I decided to sort of record, one reason, is one of the quests, I believe. I haven't necessarily been spoiled. I mean, I have been spoiled on one element of maybe turning Zelda back. I like saw something, but I found something that seems to be connected to Zelda, or at least to the dragons, some kind of dungeon or some kind of quest. And I thought I would, that was one quest that I would do, is check that out, because it might be a big story thing with Zelda, and because that was something that was big in my initial like Let's Play episodes. That'd be fun to possibly record my reaction to all that, as well as a few other things. And like I said, I have it on my phone. Let me check some of the things I want to do. Okay. So maybe I should just go through the list so you get an idea of what we're going to do today. So first thing, I kind of want to show off some of the video clips I recorded, like with this Switch capture of different Zonai builds that I made, different solutions, funny solutions to problems. Maybe highlight some of these vehicles that I saved in my favorites. Uh-oh. No. No. Okay. What's the other thing? There's a Coliseum I found in the depths, and this was another spoilery thing where I got spoiled. I watched a donkey video. I didn't think it would really have spoilers, but it did spoil one thing, and that is that there is some sort of gauntlet Coliseum deal in the depths, and I happened to find it. I didn't engage with it, I just found it. It was like surrounded by a bunch of weapons and stuff, and I'm like, okay, this is something I should save. If I was gonna do a recording, do a video, I'm gonna fight a gauntlet of dudes. So that's one thing. Another thing, I found a tri-element Gleeok. I think that's the term for the three-headed dragon, the Hydra thing. The Gleeok. I found one that has 3 elements. It's like a secret boss somewhere. I didn't fight it, but I put a travel gate there so we can go, fight it really quick. There's also Advent-Tide Island 2. I have not been to the island. I don't know what's in store, but I think it would be fun to visit the island. And then the last thing is the Dragon Head quest. I'm not sure if I can do all of these today, but I would like to try and do some of them. I'm almost want to like just go off and do a quest right now, but I think it'd be fun to. How do I gotta put some stuff away. Okay. I got some cool weapons. How about that? Let me show you some of the cool weapons I got. So this one, really cool. It's like a keyblade almost. It's stupidly awesome. I got this cross talus like heart hammer, and then I put it on the goddess sword. That is also how? How? Can we speak about how? Can we talk about how for a second? That, no, huh? What? And then there's the, you know, just some, you know, decently strong Zonai weapons. Nothing too crazy. And then this one. Gloom Club. Gloom Hands. Oh my gosh. I'll maybe talk about that later. So I got this Gloom Club from Phantom Ganon. And combine, which has stupid damage, but it's like sucks away your health. And then I combined it with this Lionel Antler, and it does 90 freaking damage. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna use that on. I might save that for Ganon. And then there's this one. Zora Longsword. And look at it. Okay, so right now, it's 122 damage, and I believe it's that right now. Okay, so it's a cool thing about Zonai weapons, if they get wet, it like doubles the attack damage. So let's actually test that out right now, see if it's is it raining? Okay, it is raining. So yeah, it is doubled. So that is it doubled right now. 122 damage. That's crazy. Then there's this floppy thing, which is just stupid. Got this cool samurai sort of sword, really cool. I got a Scythe of Death that kills me instead of the enemy, really cool. This thing freaking has skull that like jibber jabber on it, which is really cool. I did have some cool weapons in the past, not quite anymore. And then some shields. I got like just this simple sort of rock one. I got this one is a minecart. We did test that out in one of the episodes, and I've been using it a lot more. It's really cool. Got the freaking bomb barrel. You can use it to catapult yourself up in the air and do a ton of damage. Freaking rocket. You can blast off really high in the sky. Really good tool to get away from Gloom Hands, I discovered. And then Bolson. And then, you know, just this one's really cool. I got anything else? Got some cool armor. I don't think like any of it's really worth showing. My default has been where is it? I like this one. I think for style, I really like the ponytail. And then this was one I wear the most, just because I like the attack up. I don't really care about health or defense really, though the shirt I did level it up, so it does have some decent defense. I could wear this, but I don't really like. I don't know. Something about it I don't really like. I just think it's kind of eh. But I like this one. I like the fact that it helps you climb a bit faster. And then if you combine that with haste, you climb so friggin' fast. Really cool. What else? I got a lot of Lionel bows. That'll be helpful. Well, I don't think I got really anything super like with me right now. Here's my batteries. I imagine I really leveled up my batteries for sure. I've been debating whether or not I should pawn off all my heart containers just for the challenge, because I don't know. I don't want to call myself a pro, but I'm someone who likes challenge, and you know, panicking. It's just fun to be like screaming where you're gonna freaking die, and at a certain point, doing the shrines kind of dampens that experience because you get all the heart containers, and yeah, and you can sell them for money at the statue. I'm not sure if I've done that, but something I might do if I do like a full let's play, like a 3 heart run, I might do that. And the thing is, a 3 heart run is like possible because when you get the master sword. By the way, I got the master sword. that was amazing. That itself, I would have to like probably do sort of a review of the game to really articulate all my thoughts. I'm almost go speechless just how cool that whole thing with the Master Sword was. Figuring it all out was really fun. One of my favorite quests in the whole game. Oh gosh, yeah, this frigging thunderstorm. Okay, so I'm gonna just pass the. Okay.
Ah. Oh.
I want to sleep. I want to sleep. Sir, please walk faster. Please walk faster. Please just.
Oh.
Got stuff to do.
Oh.
Sure.
Oh.
I have $2,000. I don't. Oh.
Oh.
Yes, thank you. And then I'll talk to. Beetle, I was gonna talk to you. Okay, you left and came back. That was convenient for me.
Wow.
No. Okie dokie. Arrows. I'm gonna need a lot of arrows for the stuff I'm gonna do today.
Wow.
I just checked recording. I was like afraid I wasn't recording. Did all that talking? Okay. Okay. So, first thing, before we set off in our adventure, maybe I should show off some of like the things I did do between the last episode and this one. Believe you can. Yeah, I need to get all these files off so I can save more videos. My video folder is full. Can I filter? I want to sort it by game. I've also been taking a lot of pictures, as you can see. Just kind of me on my adventure. Yeah, just mostly just environment stuff. Yeah, I was doing riding a minecart off a mountain. It's really cool. Yeah. Okay, let's should I do it in chronological order then? Yeah, so this was just me just going around Hyrule. Like that right there was just, I was almost like a very Princess Mononoke? Yeah, very Princess Mononoke sort of feel, this one. Like I said, like some of these I want to like export for as wallpapers. I really like them. Oh yeah, I found out how to make a fish blade. I was wondering. I was like, can you combine a fish? You can, but it has to be a cooked fish, and you can't drop a cooked fish. So you have to cook it like on the ground or find it in a crate, and then you can attach it to a weapon. And it's unfortunately not like lengthwise like a sword, like a fish sword, but you can make a fish hammer, which is pretty cool. This is me on my horse. What did I name him? I named him Beryl, I think. Beryl. Yes. He's green or blue. Oh yeah. Oh, this. I was with Impa. And I had a thought. I was like, what happens if you attach the blimp while she's on it? Oh, think what happened? Has something gone wrong? Never mind. Oh, I can always count on you. I'm falling. Help! That was funny. It was almost like a freaking Looney Tunes cartoon. That's what it felt like. This. Okay, hold on. This was one of the coolest moments in the entire game. Not necessarily because it was like a rare moment, but because it really demonstrated just how complex the systems are in this game. So, you know, something I want to talk about in like a video essay is multiplicative gameplay, where there's a lot of elements in the world, systems that can interact with one another. You know, there's the obvious ones like fire and water can't mix, they'll like cancel each other out. But then it extends. I just realized there are birds in the basement making a lot of noise. You can probably hear them. I apologize. I can't do anything about that right now, so we're just gonna have to ignore it. Multiplicative systems, and that extends to like the enemies and stuff. And now there's like NPCs wandering the world that can, you know, get into combat situations too. And this was one of those situations where the enemies in the game started fighting each other based on like some of this, and I'll kind of try to explain it as it goes along. So I found these two enemy camps, and I didn't want to try to fight them both at the same time. So I had an idea. I decided I'm going to shoot an arrow. And the arrow makes sound, and so both of the enemy camps, so the construct and the bokoblins, hear this sound, and they both go to investigate. They both wander around. They see each other. They kind of do an investigation. The constructs are more autonomous, so they kind of all get notified immediately, and they go in for the attack. As this is happening, that big construct in the back is like combining a random item around with another item to make a like a flamethrower. The bokoblins are just now realizing they're under attack. They blow the horn, and the thing is, the bokoblin camp is asleep because they are, I guess, biological, so they need to sleep during the night. The robots don't sleep, so the bokoblins have to be woken up by the horn. They wake up, but they're already under attack, and they just start fighting each other. The Zonai constructs, they have a flamethrower, and so it starts setting them all on fire. This dude starts doing flamethrower junk around, setting more stuff on fire. It was just such a cool moment of me like thinking like, I wonder if I can get them to attack each other by like shooting an arrow. And then you just, the whole process of watching them see each other and sounding the alarm to wake up the sleeping ones. It was just so cool to just watch it all unfold. There's so many systems happening at once here. It's so complex, and there's not another game that I know of where this is a sort of thing that can happen. I know like there's stuff like in, was it Far Cry, where like you can, a lion or whatever can like find an enemy camp and like attack some of the enemies. I can't speak for like how advanced that is. I don't have that experience, but this in particular was unlike something I've ever experienced before in a video game. Just this interaction between different things that I was able to influence and then profit off of by then going in and raiding them when their forces were weakened. It was a lot of fun. So I got some more images. Maybe I should have just flipped through images all day. Just try and find some of the videos. What is this one? Oh, I remember this one. I was like, no, Korok. Stupid rock. Do you see? Do you see what I just did? Oh, I felt like such an idiot. Yeah. And then that's the other thing. There's so many things about the game I want to talk about. Discovering that there's a whole entire second world underneath the map. It's not like as robust, obviously. It's kind of like one big biome, but there's still a lot of stuff to discover. Just finding that out and realizing that the map is like twice its size. It was like a really magical feeling, like diving down there and being like, what is this? What is this place? It's so dark. And then you get the light route and the map opens up and you're like, oh no. And then you find junk down there. You're like, how do I get, because there's malice all over the place. And it's really hard to navigate. And you realize that there's like these new like zonite parts to build all kinds of stuff, and you're like, I wonder if I can build like a vehicle to get over it. And you can. So I built this, I called it the Gloom Buggy. And you just use it to just drive over all the gloom. And it's one of my favorite cars in the game. It's not particularly fast, but really helpful in getting across like huge sort of gloom swamps. And here's a moment I was trying to get a Korok up a hill. And like this was, I tried like 7 different times, failure after failure after failure. I kept running out of energy. But this last moment, this like last little push. Oh my gosh. It was like so stressful and exhilarating, and I get it over. It was so satisfying because I figured it out. I was the one that figured it out. The game didn't tell me even how to do it. I just kind of was like, I wonder if I can do this. This one, okay. So Korok wants to find his friend, and that friend is at the bottom of the mountain. Guess I didn't have any wheels on me. So I took some fans, and guess how I decided to get him down there. Just use him as an axle. Oh man, I feel so bad. But it was so funny. It kind of worked. It was faster than carrying him down the hill. I didn't have any other items to move him down the hill. This too. When I found rockets I think this is one of the first times I found rockets, and I attached him to a plane. I didn't even have a steering wheel, but it worked. It's really cool to be soaring over all this like place that took like forever to traverse normally. It's just, there's something so satisfying about this game, like building something, and you know, sometimes it won't work and it'll be a complete failure, but on those times it does work. It's so rewarding that your clever thinking managed to like solve a problem. And sometimes they do provide hints, like they do provide you with parts, obviously, scattered around the world. So there's only so much you can make based on what's around and what you have in your inventory. But that doesn't make it any less rewarding. I feel it's still incredibly satisfying to do. I know in there's been a lot of controversy surrounding what is it? There's like some guy, is his name DSP? I hope I'm not like misremembering his name, but he's someone who's been playing the game, some would say not the way you're intended to play it. Some people would even go far as to say badly. I don't like to shame people in the way that they play, but I do think the problems they have with a game, something that he was saying, the building mechanic in this game is pointless. It's tedious. It doesn't really have a point. It's annoying, and you know, that's an opinion you can have forever. But then he goes on to say other people are wasting their time trying to build things. Like, why would you do it? You know, this is a quote Zelda game. Why are there cars and stuff? It's really, people are allowed to have their own opinions, but I do think it's not just that. He's had a lot of problems just playing the game in general, doing really simple tasks, just not seeing this sort of like breadcrumbs left for him by the developers. And again, I don't like to shame people on account of like how they fail to see the solutions and problems, because like you know, sometimes I'm short-sighted in that way too. But it's the fact that he's angry about it, that he's so frustrated, and he blames the game for being too hard, or not accommodating to the experience that he wants. You know, maybe you can have that opinion, but I do think there's something to be said about, you know, embracing new things and trying new things and pushing yourself to see what you're capable of. And that's something I really enjoy about this game. It really is a coalescence of all of those things, of just new experiences, new ideas, and they don't always work, but when they do, it's I've probably had more unique experiences in this game than I have in some of the other Zeldas, where it's a really, you know, hand-holdy and scripted. The stories are always really interesting, for sure. The characters are endearing. This game, in some respects, doesn't have as much character as some of the others, but I don't think it's any less for that. I think it is very much something special. All of them are something special. All of them are unique in their own ways, like Wind Waker with the sailing mechanic, Majora's Mask with the time mechanic, Twilight Princess with like the wolf link mechanic, and then the old school ones were very open and they didn't really tell you what to do because it wasn't possible. You couldn't really have text on game cartridges like that. You had to use the manuals, and you didn't have the manuals. You just kind of, you know, played it and just kind of figured stuff out. And sometimes that was a detriment, but it was also refreshing in its own way. Anyway, should I like just go through just a few more of these? This was my first fight with an armored Lionel. I believe I was still at 3 hearts. And I managed to beat him, and I think it was 4 hearts star, because that's like what you start with when you get off the island. But yeah, I killed an armored Lionel like quite immediately after jumping into my first chasm, so I was pretty proud of that. It was pretty cool. There was fighting. Yeah, I fought a Gleeok too with 4 hearts. It was really cool. It was epic. This whole moment was so cool. I felt like a freaking action movie star. Just seeing him plummet to the ground. But I was not man enough to, you know, commit to the stab, because I would have died. And then you gotta slow-mo walk away every time. You gotta do that. Yeah, that was cool. That was cool. Cheese arrow. Cheese. What is it? Yeah. Cheese. Best item in the game. Dang it. Well, no. What did I do? I don't know what I just did. Gosh dang it. Oh yeah, here's this. People saying Tears of the Kingdom is overpriced DLC. Meanwhile, me skating down a hill in Hateno Village with cheese arrow. With weapons made of cheese. What other game can you go around fighting with weapons made of cheese? There's no advantage to it. But it's something you can do. Oh yeah, this one. This was a magical moment. Yeah, here it comes. Pew! Pew! There it is, a shooting star. And I was like, no way, is that a shooting star? It's like, oh, I gotta catch it. I gotta catch it. I caught a shooting star in the midair. That was really cool. There's more pictures. Oh yeah, this was me fighting the Gloom Hands. Not my first encounter. I didn't save my first encounter. I was too pancaked. But I used a spring and I'm like, see ya, idiots. Oh no, that didn't work at all. And so I was like, oh, what can I do? What can I do? Because I was gonna die. And I couldn't fight him. I wasn't really strong enough to fight him yet. So I attached a thing and I still get goosebumps. Rocket away. So that's an easy way to get away from the gloom hands. At least early game. Late game, they're pushovers. Oh yeah, my fight with Phantom Ganon. This was my first encounter with Phantom Ganon. I freaking pooped my pants because I was like, I did it. I was like, I did it. I defeated the gloom hands finally. I felt so accomplished. I felt so proud. And then there's kind of like a dun dun dun. And then there's this figure rising out of the ground and it just says Phantom Ganon. It just had flashbacks to Ocarina of Time. Like I had my life like flash before my eyes. It was freaking funny. It was so cool. Yeah, and I was freaking pranking Phantom Ganon though. Using springs to like get away from him. Boing! It's still a high stakes fight, but I do wish you didn't have to like merge it every time. I wish there was like a key where you just automatically bind whatever item you have just whenever you shoot it, so you can rapid fire it. Because in the last game you could rapid fire bomb arrows. You can't do that in this game. You have to like manually attach them over and over, and that can get annoying. Oh yeah, this scene. Oh yeah, this was right after I got the Master Sword. Again, spoilers. Zelda is a dragon, and I got the Master Sword from pulling it out of the dragon's head. Like I can't go recall it all. I would have to like do an essay to really like do it to justice. But like she let me off on this little island. I just got up and I just kind of watched her fly away. And the first thing I did after doing that, after that super serious realization that she's like lost herself to this dragon, has been here for I don't know how many thousands, tens of thousands of years, because she went back in time, and so this dragon's like supposedly existed alongside the timeline, the current, whatever the current timeline is. Just she's been like this for who knows how long. You know, like I get the Master Sword and she kind of has that sort of moment of acknowledgement. Like maybe she just still has like some memories left in her, at least that like I'm special in some way. Maybe she doesn't remember that, you know, we were, you know, but something very special about that. And then immediately my first instinct, the first thing I think to do, Cheese Blade. Cheese Blade. Heat Blade. What was this one? Oh yeah, this was just me fighting a pirate ship. I don't think this one was super interesting. We'll just watch it just to see. I don't think it's interesting. I think anything this was cool. This one was cool. So I was fighting these guys, and then I built a motorcycle, and then I just zoomed around them. Oh wait, no, this one is not the cool one. I mean, that was cool in its own right, but there's an even cooler moment I had. But and then here's me. I wanted to build a vehicle that could travel land and sea, and so I built this little hovercraft, and it can hover over land and sea. It's not really fast, but I've really got flashbacks to the Wind Waker. Just kind of sailing in the ocean. And it makes me wish, I hope if the next Zelda is sort of a Wind Waker. I'm not sure where the next Zelda is going. Some people think this new formula will keep going forever. I think there's going to be a bit of a shakeup. Whatever the next game is, I think it's going to kind of be its own thing. It might even be a bit more linear again. But I think one cool thing, I think the open world is cool. I think they should keep the open world aspect. And one way that they could do that is just do sort of another Wind Waker. But instead you kind of like, you know, I like the idea that you build the boats, or maybe you have your own pirate ship. You know, maybe like you have Tetra's pirate ship, but it's yours. and you sail it around like freaking Assassin's Creed Black Flag. And you like get in pirate ship battles. That's what I think the next Zelda should be. It just makes sense. And playing, just kind of sailing on the open sea. It's not even like really the open sea, just kind of offshore, but it's still really fun. Really serene. I took a lot of pictures of me on the ocean. And then this was a really interesting moment. I got this buggy I built trapped on a river and it couldn't get any traction, so I couldn't get out. And so what I did, I kind of spoiled it just then, but what I did is I attached a rocket to the back of the buggy because it's like the tires can't get traction. What can I do? So I just I blasted right out of there. And I almost yeah. And I managed to just barely squeeze out of there. That was really cool. That was a really cool sort of, it was like a problem I created for myself by getting swept down the river. But then I solved it for myself too. And it's that emergent gameplay, having all these systems working together where you can like build a buggy, but it floats, it's buoyant in water. Because like water has physics, but now you're stuck. And so it's like, how do you get out of here? You can like attach a rocket, and because rocket has like adds all this momentum, you can take it and kind of skip across the water. It was really cool. Oh yeah, this was me trying to figure out how to kill this Talus. And so what I did was I was like, I'm gonna attach all these bombs and fly it right into the Talus. But then there was a problem, because then the Talus saw me. And it just kind of did damage to me instead. Yeah, it was cool though. It was a cool thing. And I got a green heart, which is really cool. This was cool too. Another moment where it's like I didn't know how to get this out of the waterfall. So what I did is I attached a rocket to the back to help me kind of jump this crystal over the waterfall. Really cool. It was really cool. So many moments like that. It's just like little things. Oh yeah, this was me. Another me fighting the Gloom Hands. I thought Phantom Ganon was like a one-time thing. Like I just thought it was a one-time thing in the Deku Tree because it was like a homage to the Forest Temple kind of. I wish it was a temple. That's like the one thing. I really wish it wasn't temple. Instead, it's just kind of a hole in the ground. That's really disappointing. But it was still a really cool fight, you know, seeing Phantom Ganon for the first time. And then it was a really cool thing to realize that he does this anytime you fight the Gloom Hands. I was like, no, no, no. And then he has a freaking spear. And I die. So that was a moment. I wish you could kind of fast forward with these. It was cool though. I was like flying around in this Gleeok. Like something about the scope of this game is just it's really cool. Yeah, I don't think anything super cool happens here. I do like the game does force you to think. Like it's not just it's not like some other games where they just tell you where something is with a way marker. There are times where it does like have a way marker telling you exactly where to go, but a lot of the time it just tells you roughly like where to start looking. And here is the moment where there's like a map on the wall, and it just kind of tells you where some hideouts are, and you just kind of have to figure it out based on like the map and where it is. That was really cool to figure out where all the Yiga were hiding. Different hideouts. I do wish some of the Yiga hideouts, especially the ones underground, were more substantial. I want to like fight a whole army of them, but instead it's just kind of like two guys, just kind of, you know. And I kill them, and I'm too OP. They are so easy to kill. Oh, then there's ooh, this was a nice image. Yeah, I like that one. This was me trying to figure out how to cross this big ravine. There's no like car. There's no horse. You can't have horses here. I don't know if I had any flying things to build like a plane. And there's wheels don't work here either because of the sand. So I built a sled. But you know, the ravine is still too steep for like a rocket to carry me over. So what I did was I built a ramp out of random parts in the area. Kind of just like angled it just right. Woo! And then I bonk off of that. It was so cool. And then I get stuck on a box. That was so cool. The game didn't tell me this was how to like get this ball across the ravine. Like I might have been able to just like throw it or something or walk around the ravine. But I was able to build a ramp and launch and I like hit the cross. Oh, that was so cool. That was such a cool moment. Yeah, some pictures with me and my horse. Just moments like that, like what? There's not a lot of other games out there that really have moments like that. I've spoken before how special Breath of the Wild was for me as a game. Someone who deals with sensory issues a lot. There's not another game out there that really puts me in such like a serene place environment. Even Minecraft is kind of, I don't know. It doesn't feel tangible quite, you know, because it's all blocks and stuff. It doesn't really feel tangible. With shaders, it does help a lot more, but something about this game. I've played a lot of other open world games. Well, not a lot, but you know, a handful, and they don't really do it for me. There's just something about Breath of the Wild that's just truly special. Now this game, truly special, just sitting, hearing the wind, the sound of the wind and the crickets and the leaves going by. Just me and my horse just kind of going somewhere. It doesn't really matter where. Yeah. The Bolson construct. I had to get a photo. It's like freaking going to Disney World and you need to get a picture. Yeah, just lots of pictures. I thought the sort of what do you call it? The physics of the hair were really cool on this one. And I got physics too. Really cool. Yeah, building vehicles. Oh yeah, this one. I was trying to sell junk to this guy and it's like a star fragment worth 200 rupees. And the guy's freaking response is, yeah, that's worth a rupee or two. Let's say 400. Yeah, look at this one. Just that's most of what about just pictures I've been taking. Just me just looking off in the horizon. Very inspirational. I want to make my own sort of Breath of the Wild like game in the future. A bit different. I'm keeping details close to the chest. Should it ever, you know, actually come to fruition. What's that? The ambience is something for sure. Really, something like this image, especially something. Just seeing the era of a bygone time, imagining the people who carved it, spent who knows how long carving it, and spending their days worshiping in this place, and now they're gone. Them and their families have moved on. This place has fallen to neglect, to ruin. People don't pay homage here. They don't even remember that this place existed. That was important to them. That's true of the real world too. A lot of things, even things that seem, you know, are kind of insignificant, like pieces of media often become lost. And truth of the matter is, like, some of those pieces of lost media were hugely impactful. It's inspirational to some people, like in their younger years. Yeah, I completed the goddess statues. I got the sword of the sky. That was really cool. How? Lore wise, I don't freaking know. This was me trying to get the jump on a Lionel. It went okay. wasn't, yeah. I wanted to jump off, do slow-mo, and then immediately shoot it, but I didn't like have my materials prepared, and so the moment was kind of gone, and then I didn't get a good angle. Yeah, and it didn't even do damage. Not even worth it. I should have just tried to jump on his back. This was a cool shot. You see this? That was a cool shot. That was a cool sword. Bonk. This was a cool fight. Just the whoosh. Oh yeah, this moment. Watch this. So he does it. I do backflip. He cuts the grass. A fairy spawns. I grab the fairy. It's happening like so quickly too. And then I flurry rush in. That was so cool. That was so many things happening at once. Just watch it again happen all in one take. Cuts the grass. Fairy spawns. Grabs the fairy. Then he charges, does another backflip, gets flurry rush. That was such a cool moment. Like it was such an adrenaline pumping, like, ooh, fairy. And then he, so cool. So cool. Oh, this one too. Yeah, look at it. Just looking into the abyss here. I try to be more creative with some of them because it's like, oh, you're just looking off at the horizon. That's not very creative. Try to be creative with some of the images. Like I like this one, just the image of the ramp, the bridge, just kind of swooping down into the distance. Yeah, this mountain in the background, this crag. Or I don't know, crag's the right word, but just like this mountain, this like craggy mountain range following the bridge. Minecraft cube in the sky. Yeah, that was the moment I got that blade. This was probably like the big standout moment of my, in terms of just normal gameplay, like it, you know, irrespective of story. There was like a troop of like a big white, what do you call it? Like a big white giga bokoblin guy, followed with a troop of like smaller blue and white bokoblins. And there was no way I was gonna fight them and win. Like, I mean, I may have, if I just like blew through a bunch of bomb fruit, I could have. But I wanted to, you know, I was like, how can I approach this, you know, in an interesting way? And I thought, what if I built the robot from Short Circuit? You know, the ones with the lasers that just blow the frigging crap out of everything. That was a good movie. I mean, it was good, instead it was a very of the time sort of movie. It was really fun. It was like sort of a Goonies. I don't know. Goonies is a high up there in terms of like quality. It was, I don't know, it was just like a stupid fun movie. And I thought, I'm gonna build a robot. And I was like, there's no way this is gonna work. I just kind of waited for them to get close. And then the fun can begin. Yes. Oh, it was so cool to see it actually work. Just a death murdering robot. It's so freaking cool. That was a standout moment for sure. I was like, here's another one of me just kind of going around the coast. Be gathering lumber. I was like, how I you know, there's a quest in the what do you call it, the Lurelin village. You have to like rebuild it. They need lumber, and they don't really tell you how you're supposed to get, you specifically, you need what do you call it, like cedar, pine, just sure pine. There's no like pine trees around. So how are you supposed to find some? He said just get some like in the nearby forest, but they're like pretty out of the way. And they don't tell you how to go about collecting them all. So what I did was I just kind of built a car. And I just kind of, stacked more and more and more of these until I just had this car made of tree. And it was really cool. And it got stuck on a rock, and I just kind of took this cool pose. It's really cool. Yeah, I was like, here you go. Oh. Yeah. Oh yeah, this Robbie. The writing in this game is really good too. You want to detect the unmistakable odor of my old home on you? Ugh. What is the odor of your old home smell like? And then here's a scene. Was his name Simeon? And this, for some reason, this girl was just levitating. Don't know why that happened. That was cool, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that was cool. Very Keyblade moment. Even some scenes like this was kind of beautiful in its own way. Like that island just dead center in the middle of the sky. It might be hard to see, but just floating. Really cool. Really cool. It's like something out of an anime. This always gets me. Walking around and seeing the burnt down ruins of somebody's house. I don't know if this was like 2 years ago, 10 years ago, 100 years ago. There's something really the poignant's the right word, but melancholy. Seeing this house and like wondering if the people made it out okay, if they're still around, if their families, if they're like their descendants, if they were from like really old times, if their descendants are still alive. Coming back to this place, no one's been to this place. This place filled with memories and old homes. I don't know. I wanted to tell a story. I don't remember if I did, but me and my brother decided to go to an old family home we had a few years ago. It was a house he remembered growing up in. Even though we weren't there for many years, but we decided to go there. It was nearby. It was kind of it was a bit out of the way, but it was like like a town over, up the road in the mountains, and go driving by the place. And we're like expecting to see it. We're like looking around, like where is it? We passed by this road, and it's like a really familiar road and a really familiar hill. And there's no house, and he says to me, "It's gone." I'm like, "What are you talking about? What are you talking about? It's not the house." He's like, "The house, it's gone." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" "No, it's up ahead. No, it's surely up ahead." And we come to the end of the road, and we're like, "Wait, this is the end of the road where our house was." We turn around and go back for the driveway. We drive up and we're like, yeah, the entire house is gone. And it's not like ruins, like you see like big pieces of concrete and wood. And it's like, oh, there was like some giant fire here or something. It was like, it was as if it was never there at all. It was just overgrown with grass, and we could see the trees. Like that's where the old rope swing was. That was over here I had a garden that I tilled the soil in this garden I made for myself for like 2 years. I was homeschooled. That's kind of how I did my exercises, just kind of tilling the garden. I really loved that garden. Like there was the trees that kind of surrounded the house. This is where the kitchen was. The little window that overlooked the backyard. And you're like, yeah, there's no house. And we get out of the car and kind of walk around. Like, yeah, those are the blackberry bushes. That's the old tires over there. Yeah, and we find like there's like this sort of island like in the middle of the driveway. There's like a little island there. And come up to the ruins, or what you could call ruins. It's just like gravel, but it's not gravel made of like normal stone. It's like made of concrete and bits of clay brick, probably from the fireplace. And it's just unclear like what happened. Like I assume maybe something happened, like the house wasn't no one was buying the house, and maybe it fell into disrepair, or maybe it did burn down because there was a fireplace. It burned down, and I'm wondering, like, did it burn down? Did someone die? Did they make it out okay? Or was it just, you know, maybe it was just demolished because it was like an old house. And we were there for, it didn't feel long, but we were there for probably for 40 minutes, just kind of looking around different things. There's a blackberry bushes I talked about. We picked blackberries there in the summer. Like it was right next to the, yeah. I think there were still someone's initials in the tree. I don't know whose initials they were, but they were probably from someone who lived there even before us. And as we were leaving, like we walked through that place so many times, just looking around. Like, yeah, that's where the balcony was in the office. It was like a single floor. Was it two? No, it was 2-story, but the balcony was on the first floor because it was like on a hill. It's very weird. Like I said, there was like no inclination. You wouldn't even know there was a house here if you didn't know before. Like there was only gravel, and it was like overtaken by grass, and there's some evidence of there might have been a fire, just charcoal and things. Anyway, like I was trying to say, we've been everywhere looking at the ruins of this house, and we're sure we've seen all there is to see. There's nothing here. It's gone. And right as we're about to leave, we're about to get into my brother's Mustang. I just can't take one last look. It wasn't a house that like I had super fond memories with. I hated the attic. I lived in the attic. It had bugs in it, like beetles all the time, spiders. I didn't like it. Couldn't hang my posters on the walls because it was like that old like 70s wooden wall panels that freaking sucked. But you know, I had my memories there. I was taking one last look back at the place, and I see something. I see something in the distance. I'm like, how could I have not seen that before? There's something like a splash of red just in the center of where the house was. I'm sure I'm walked through there before, and I get up and I go back over there to go look and see what it is, and my brother does too. There's and we get there, and there's a single rose, like a single rose or some rose-like flower growing from like the ashes of our old house. Something really, and we were talking to each other like, this wasn't here before. Both of us, this wasn't here before. We walked through here so many times. We drove up and we didn't see it. We turn around like just before leaving, and it's there just in the center. This one rose in the ashes of these old memories. And I think I remember there was a rose bush at one point, I think, kind of near the balcony. We just kind of like plucked the rose. We were unsure if we should like leave the rose or pluck the rose. I decided to pluck the rose and take it home to my mom. She thought it was like a funny story. Anyway, it's just one of those things about, like, I don't know the terms of like how the house was destroyed and like how much effort people went to remove it, but I don't know how long. That was probably like 10 years ago or more that we lived in that house. And there's almost no evidence of it having ever existing. The house itself, in some ways, is kind of like it's like a time capsule of memories, and now it's just gone. It's only memories are, you know, the people who've lived there. You just got to think about the future, like that could happen to the house I'm living in now. Could happen to probably every house that's ever existed at some point. The one you're living in, the one your mom lived in, your grandparents lived in. At some point, all of them are gone, reduced to rubble. Like, you can repair them. You know, some houses have existed for a long time, but will there be a time where every house has been replaced or made new to a point where it's no longer a house that holds like the same memories as you remembered, or someone else remembers it, or is no longer even there? Like, when or if humanity is like just disappears from the earth, what left will there be of us? It's just, I don't know, just a whole lot of existential thoughts came about from that experience. This was supposed to be a video about the Legend of Zelda. I don't know. I just really want to tell that story. I realize I'm probably not gonna actually end up playing anything. At least like the first episode. I'm gonna kind of cut it up and release it in like a batch of episodes. Ooh, I'm winded talking about all that. Yeah, this one. I did this one literally the other day, so I think we're about caught up. This was me kind of copying my my escapade in the dunes, trying to figure out how to get this dude across the river, and I didn't want to like try and fight the current. So why contend with the current at all? Just jump the entire river, and it worked. That was cool. That was a really cool moment. Yeah. So yeah, this game is really special to me, you know, just like Breath of the Wild is. It's just it's not quite special in the same way, but it's very special moment, very special game to me. I'm just gonna stop recording for a sec just to make sure it's went through. Okay, let's do that.